Here are the top stories of the news. Many feared abducted. A suspected bandit invade Kwara community, set Emir's palace ablaze. NCAA suspends debt enforcement against local airlines. And on the foreign scene, Uganda confirms 2 more Ebola cases, taking total to 7. Good afternoon and welcome to Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. I am Femi Ojo. Suspected bandits have reportedly invaded the Yashikira community in Barutan local government area of Kwara State early this morning, setting the Emir's palace ablaze and abducting several residents, including women and children. It was gathered that the attack occurred late at night when the heavily armed assailants stormed the community, firing sporadically. According to sources in the area, the gunmen attacked the palace during the invasion, setting part of the royal residence on fire before whisking away multiple victims. Residents said the attackers operated for hours without resistance, leaving behind destruction and fear in the border community. Sources say security forces have launched rescue operations to free victims of the Yashikara abduction, which occurred on Sunday night. Military and police operatives have established a cordon in the area as part of the efforts to rescue about 10 persons who were reportedly taken from the community in an overnight attack on the palace of the Emir of Yashikara. In the meantime, the headquarters, the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai, has assured residents of the northeast of adequate security ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebrations scheduled for Wednesday. In a statement issued this morning by the Media Information Officer, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, the military said comprehensive security measures had already been activated across the theater to ensure peaceful celebrations. The command also extended warm felicitations to all Muslim faithful ahead of the Eid al-Kabir celebrations and wished residents of the region a peaceful and joyful festivity. According to the statement, credible intelligence suggested that insurgents might attempt to exploit the festive period to launch isolated attacks on civilian targets using suicide bombers and improvised explosive devices. The military, however, assured residents that the threat had been anticipated and necessary countermeasures put in place. It added that troops had been forward deployed to critical and vulnerable locations across all sectors of the theater, while surveillance and intelligence assets had been fully activated. The statement also called on citizens to cooperate with security personnel during patrols and screening operations and to avoid spreading unverified information capable of causing panic. To politics, the African Democratic Congress ADC will today commence the process of selecting its presidential candidate for the 2027 general election, with party members across the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory expected to participate in the exercise. Bearing any last-minute changes, the party has opted for the direct primary method after all 3 aspirants, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, and former banker Mohammed Hayatuddin reportedly declined calls to step down for a consensus candidate. Although the ADC initially considered adopting an affirmation process similar to that used by the Nigeria Democratic Congress party leaders, maintain that the direct primary option fully aligns with the provisions of the Electoral Act 2026. As members head to the polls today, attention has turned to the political weight, nationwide appeal, and perceived weaknesses of the 3 contenders vying for the party's sole presidential ticket. Meanwhile, the crisis within the ADC deepened on Sunday as the faction loyal to Dumebi Kachiko dissolved the party's National Working Committee and declared him its sole presidential candidate. President Bola Tinubu on Sunday emerged as the 2027 presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC after securing nearly 11 million votes in the party's nationwide primary election. The results drawn from all 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory showed President Tinubu secured 10.99 million votes to defeat his sole rival, Stanley Osifo, who polled 16,504 votes. The figures were announced during the National Collation of Results at the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center in Abuja. Governors of 31 states, alongside other senior party figures, 7 state coordinators, and coalition officers, presented the outcomes of the direct primaries to the Presidential Primary Election Committee chaired by a former president of the Senate, Pius Ayim. In his acceptance speech, the president promised to work harder to deliver on the prosperity of the nation long expected. The national chairman of the party, Professor Netawe Yitwada, earlier presented the party's flag and the certificate of return to the president.
As a candidate of our party, Your Excellency, with your selection by overwhelming members of our party, we are sure of victory in 2027. I present to you the symbol of our party, symbol of unity, symbol of common prosperity of this country. To you, congratulations, Mr. President.
In the year 2022, I won around to chart a new course, a new direction of our party and our nation. Today, our task is to affirm that continuity, which is essential. To consolidate the reform, to work harder for prosperity, to bring that hope home to our people, and work harder to ensure Nigeria's prosperity that we long expected is here with us. I accept with profound humility and profound gratitude the nomination of our great party, the All Progressive Congress, to stand again as your presidential candidate in the 2027 election. I thank all the party leadership. I was glued to the television screen after participating in my own ward yesterday, watching the process. I saw what you did. I saw the rally in Kano. I saw the mammoth crowd watching the process. I saw what you did. I saw the rally in Kano. I saw the mammoth crowd.
A former governor of Bayelsa State and national leader of the Nigeria Democratic Congress NDC, Seriake Dixon, will today inaugurate the party's 21-member selection committee in Abuja as part of the preparations for the general elections. The inauguration follows the completion of screening exercises for governorship, National Assembly and State Houses of Assembly aspirants across the country. In a statement issued by the party's National Publicity Secretary, OSA Director, the NDC said the committee was constituted to strengthen internal democracy and ensure a transparent candidate selection process for all elective positions. According to the statement, the committee is mandated to review and assess a report submitted by both the National Screening Committee and the State Houses of Assembly screening committees. It added that the panel will also take appropriate decisions on the screening outcomes of all aspirants as part of efforts to ensure credible representation in the forthcoming elections. The 21-member committee will be chaired by the party's national chairman, Senator Moses Cleopas Suwoke, and was described as an initiative driven by recommendations of the National Working Committee in line with directives from Dixon. Dixon is also expected to host an aspirants dinner later today at 6 p.m. for screened aspirant and selected party stakeholders. Moving on, the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) has temporarily suspended its No Pay, No Service Enforcement Directive against domestic airlines over outstanding statutory remittances, citing the need to protect operational stability within the country's aviation industry. In a statement signed by the Director General of the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Chris Najamo, this morning, the authority said the suspension followed extensive consultations within the aviation sector and a careful assessment of prevailing realities in the industry. The decision comes amid growing concerns from operators and stakeholders that strict enforcement of the directive could worsen the financial strain already confronting airlines. The regulator, however, clarified that the suspension should not be interpreted as a cancellation, waiver, or forgiveness of the debts owed by airlines to the authority and other aviation agencies. You're watching Spring News at 12 on Western Spring Television. We will be right back after this break. Please stay with us.